About 8 months ago, I joined a social media platform called Reddit. Reddit is a self-moderated community of people who organize themselves into smaller groups of interest called subreddits. And I have to tell you that the Catholicism subreddit is amazing. Not only is it full of a lot of faithful, zealous Catholics who love to discuss their faith, but many seekers from all over the internet come to this little discussion group to ask questions about Catholicism. A surprising number of people are softened to and eventually won over to the faith through these online discussions. And now there is even a subreddit where users can ask questions directly to the group of priests who are members of Reddit. Well, the themes of these discussions often go in cycles. And I have to tell you that I found a recent cycle pretty annoying. A big part of that, I am sure, is the fact that I was spending too much time on Reddit during this period and felt annoyed with myself. But the cycle itself was annoying because every question seemed to be from someone who was anxious. Anxious about whether something was a mortal sin, anxious about how to address a family situation or another very specific scenario, anxious that they were doing something wrong in their life. Now, don't get me wrong, one of the beautiful things about being part of a faith community is the ability to rely on others in faith, to ask each other questions, to pursue holiness together. If someone is anxious about something, I am glad they are seeking the advice of holy and faithful people. But it didn't change the fact that I still found those posts super annoying. So I had to ask myself, why? And I came to two answers. First, the foundation of many of the questions I was seeing was fear. Specifically, fear of being less than perfect. These people were so petrified of the idea that their particular sin, which was, in my estimation, usually pretty minor, might be putting them in danger of hell. Or they were terrified of taking any action before they were absolutely sure that it was exactly the right way to take that action. If I had to guess, these people felt compelled to post on Reddit because either their family or their introduction to the faith portrayed God as an unrelenting judge, just waiting to condemn them for their imperfections. This is such a perversion of Christianity. And it is sad to see so many people deeply affected by it. Our deepest desire is unity with Jesus. And we avoid sin not to escape condemnation, but because sin closes our soul off to the presence of God. The second reason I found these posts annoying was that I knew answering these questions was ultimately useless. Okay. Maybe my advice would help one person one time. But what happens the next time that person needs advice? Or the next time after that? I can't solve every problem that arises in my own life, let alone the lives of my parishioners who are my primary responsibility, let alone the lives of random internet strangers. Instead, I am keenly aware that my real task as a priest is not to solve anyone's specific problem, but is instead to teach them how to recognize the voice of Jesus. Because Jesus can solve every problem. He knows us. He knows our hearts. He knows our situations. Even if he may not resolve every situation in exactly the way we would like, if we follow the voice of our shepherd, he will always lead us to green pastures. If we follow the voice of Jesus, we do not have to live in fear because nothing can take us out of his hand. A few pointers on recognizing the voice of Jesus then. First, we hear the voice of Jesus most powerfully in silence. if you can, try to spend 10 to 15 minutes every day in silence with the Lord. Second, the Lord is going to talk to us about whatever we offer Him, and only what we offer Him. In that period of daily silence, give Him everything that is on your heart, good or bad, positive or angry. Tell Him about your day, your fears, your struggles, your desires, and your hopes. Lay down at His feet all of your anxieties and needs. If you give everything to Jesus, He will give you back what you need. Sometimes an answer, sometimes a feeling, sometimes a way forward. And sometimes, it's true, a period of waiting. But it is always what you need. If, for example, you are worried about the health of someone you love, give that worry to Jesus without any expectation that it will be solved. And then Jesus will have the freedom to talk to you about it when you're ready, maybe telling you to have hope, or maybe helping you to find peace with the inevitable. But we have to give it to Jesus without expectation so that we can receive back whatever He wants to give us. Our job is simply to give everything to Jesus and then listen to see what He has to say. Finally, realize that the voice of Jesus is not your own voice. If you bring a bunch of stuff to prayer and hear all of your desires or thoughts or plans confirmed, that is not the voice of Jesus. The voice of Jesus is always challenging. The voice of Jesus is always calling us to holiness because He loves us too much to leave us how He finds us. But on the flip side, the voice of Jesus is also always loving. Jesus never berates or scorns us. He enters deeply into our experiences first, before asking us to grow. He calls us forward from a place of solidarity, not condemnation. My friends, life is horribly complex, and we face thousands of choices every day, many of which fill us with fear and anxiety. And we cannot rely on other people, even the priests of Reddit, to solve our problems. But thankfully, we do have a shepherd who can lead us where we need to go. If we can learn to recognize His voice, we never have to worry about whether we're on the right path.